I'll ask Mr. Paluski to lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thanks, everybody. Welcome back to our police committee meeting, September 3rd. First, has everyone had a chance to review the minutes for the 25th? Any comments, additions, changes, or edits? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Item 4 on the agenda was, I apologize for sharing my ongoing work plan, which I use for organizing my own thoughts and approach to the committee. I'll take it off the regular standing agenda unless it's particularly useful to other members. But really, I just set that up initially last year as a method to assure ourselves that as a committee, as a body, we are remaining true to the directives of the IMA, the agreement, and meeting all of our obligations as a committee, which we are doing. So I'll take it off the agenda moving forward.
Is there any update now that you are paying such close attention to it?
Not at the minute that isn't already addressed in other portions of the
Okay.
agenda. So, no. Agenda item 5 is basically just a standing open slot for village representatives to bring any items to this committee for attention. So in order written, Casey, did you want to have anything to bring to the committee for this month?
I don't know how much interest it is to everyone, but given that traffic is probably the biggest concern of people in Fayetteville. I just update you on, we had gotten approved for the Syracuse Metropolitan Transportation Council to do a study of our Route 5 corridor from our east end to our west end. And, Chief, I think you might be interested in what the scope of work will be. And as I said at another meeting, unfortunately, they're not gonna be able to pull out a rabbit out of the hat and work with us. But what we will have is updated data. They had SMTC had done a study in 2018, so that data was a couple of years old. So we will have updated data because our concern is that we have a lot of development happening north, south, east, and west of us, and that we're gonna continue to have pressure, particularly on our intersections. And there are no easy answers. One of the things that I'm looking forward to having, so we'll have 2016 data, 2018 data, and then we'll have 2025 data. So it'll be good for tracking especially as Micron develops out. And I'm looking forward to their recommendations on traffic pumping. So we are having a lot of people cutting through in our neighborhoods. To from Salt Springs to Route 5 is a popular one, so the neighborhoods are being affected by that pressure. So anyway, Chief, I'll share this with you. I doubt anyone else is particularly interested in this scope of work, but it's not going to be a large study. It's going to be a technical memorandum, just because of things.
I appreciate that. Thank you for thinking of keep me involved, because I want to get that information out to our folks. Because your problems are problems, like we're all in it together. So understanding what they're focusing on, and if we can also, I offer this to you in their study, if we can offer any support to that from a practical standpoint or any statistics that we can gain for them from what we see, we're happy to do.
And I do believe that they plan on.
Good. Great, thank you.
Casey, what's the date? When are they planning to do that?
So the scope of work was approved in the beginning of August. And, but they have 12 months to complete their studies.
Nice.
So I have a feeling though that it won't be a whole year because it's not as broad as some of the other studies that they have to do. We appreciate their accepting this proposal because I think it's going to be important going down the line.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for making that.
Oh,
Thank you. All right, trustee Bilski, Village of Manlius.
I don't really have anything other than a big thank you to the police department for the fabulous job they did for our 4th of July celebration day. I don't think people understand what it's like behind the scenes, given the national narrative, things that could go wrong. And since we host that parade, I sort of take for granted that everything's gonna go smoothly. I don't take it for granted, given that I'm on this committee, but I think the public does. Things go beautifully, so thank you to you and the staff.
We appreciate that. Absolutely. Thank you.
That's it.
All right, and trustee Shep, speak from Manlius for us.
Oh, it's pretty quiet down there.
So, forgot we did meet in June, so we say teal ribbon, that was in May.
Yep.
So we've already talked about it. And the Friday night car nights have all gone pretty well, a couple of
Yep.
other
Yeah,
cancellations.
that's all done for you.
Awesome. I love it, quiet, no news is good.
Yep.
It's great. Okay, well, trucking right along, that takes us to Chief Manlius.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. It's good to see everyone. We're happy to announce the hiring selection of a transfer police officer, Arter Karilko. Arter is a 4-year police veteran from the Oneida County Sheriff's Office. And he's currently right on field training and doing well. So we're very excited to have him. We're going to formally introduce him to the board. When we get towards after the training, when folks get off of their training and get out there, usually bring them in after they've shown that they've earned the right to be a part of our organization. And then we'll introduce them. Officer Brandon Heyman has also successfully passed his field training program. He's on the road assigned to afternoons in the field service section, and he was officially welcomed to the town by the town board back in July. But that happened after our June meeting, and I just want to make sure that that's been done. Our recruit officer, Mercedes Moore, she's slated to graduate the Oswego Police Academy on October 10th, and then she'll transition directly to the field training program. We currently have 2 sworn transfer candidates in the selection process that's underway. I offer this. We have 37 positions filled. We have 42 funded, and we are constantly looking for those people that can meet our culture at the same time, our performance objectives. So we're very selective. We're very selective because our community demands it, and so we carefully have a very thorough selection process. And so just because people are in it doesn't mean they come out on the other side. But I like to make sure that you know that the interest is there, the continual interest is there. We're hiring the right people, and we've had some great successes with folks. We are currently interviewing for the position of the Special Patrol Officer. Those are the retired police and peace officers that work in our school. We have 2 openings. One of our SPOs, Brian Damon, who is a former retired member of our agency, has moved south. So that opened up a position. So we're working with the school districts to ensure that they have the coverage and that not only they need, but that's something in which that we can continue to provide in the time being until we find the right people. Again, selection process is everything. And in the selection process for SPO, which is always interesting, it's Cyro is the full-time police officer. The special patrol officer is the part-time retired officer. The school districts that have the vacancy that we would be placing a person in, they're a part of that collaborative process. They interview the candidate, and it's really just that 360 style of a selection process, which is great because they know what they want. They also know what they don't want. We know what we see. We know what we can find that makes them an excellent candidate for us, but we don't always have all of the answers. So it's great having them just a part of our team. They're our partnerships with our schools are fantastic. They are our strongest partners. We rely on each other every day, all the time. And I can't speak highly enough of the East Syracuse Monroe Central School District and the Fayetteville Manlius School District and their superintendents. Are just phenomenal people who work with them. And I feel privileged to be able to do that with them to ensure the safety of their schools. So we are continuing to look at candidates for those 2 SPO positions as the school year starts. and we'll get a little bit more onto what we're doing around the start of the school year. Thank you to the town board for your assistance and guidance when we first discussed hiring and opening up a part-time community service officer, CSO position, non-sworn civilian, in order to start taking on some of those responsibilities off of the shoulders of our sworn police officers, things in which that we could take away from them and then focus their energies in things in which that you need sworn standing to be able to do. So how can we become more efficient and more effective at that same time? We explored that together. We were able to establish a part-time position. That part-time position, then we opened it up. Took us a little time to find the right candidate. We found her. She's been with us as a part-timer, and Gabrielle Wehrman, and she's fit right into our organization so well. The culture, she operates at a high level. She cares, and she has a desire to serve others. And we're excited to have her a part of our family. And as she has gone through that process and demonstrated that, we continue to push a little bit farther to give her more and more to see what she's capable of, and she's been able to accept all those things. We then turned to our town board and said, now is the next phase. We found someone, they fit into our culture and our organization very well. They're good at what they do. We see a bright future ahead. Give us the opportunity, because we have the work. Give us the opportunity to bring that person on full time, and thank you for that. Because now we're able to start looking at being able to provide that assistance. We have another civilian that's looking to retire in the not too distant future. We can start doing some cross training into some different pieces. Our front office staff, we have 2 civilians up there. There's not always 2 that are at work at all the time, and it can get to be a fairly busy place. There's a lot of administrative responsibilities that go on. So cross training, succession planning, it's all a part of this, so that we can continue. We can have that business continuity, that continuity of operations that allows us to continue to be successful. So we're excited for that. Our Lieutenant Greg Snyder, I think we've talked about it before. He was in the selection process for the FBI's National Academy. He has been selected, and he leaves in the end of September. We're so excited to have this opportunity to send one of our commanders. The FBI National Academy is a premier leadership school based right at Quantico with the FBI. The practical management and leadership classes are taught by the best. Some of the names in which that the FBI relies upon every day, leaders in the country, leaders in the field, and they're exposed to a significant amount of their peers in that same position, and the networking and the connections and the coursework, and it's all University of Virginia coursework. He's going to be taking graduate studies when he's there, is significant. It's a lot of time, very focused. So he'll be gone just short of 3 months, 10 weeks, but a little vacation with his family before he leaves. And then he will be on his way. We're very excited for him, very proud of him. The town of Manlius Police Department has looked at the FBI National Academy as an opportunity for succession planning. The last time that we sent a candidate was 2003. It was 22 years ago, and it was me as lieutenant. There was a time, it was me. Yeah, there was a time when 3 out of the 4 commanders were National Academy graduates. And I can tell you that it has made a big difference for me professionally. And I'm looking forward for that opportunity for Greg. But I don't want to stop there as we look at it. The National Academy, the only cost that we have is making sure that he has the FBI uniform. The FBI pays for everything. We pay his salary, but we don't pay for the school. We don't pay for the food. We don't pay for the room and board. Everything is paid for by the government. Significant process of getting in and getting accepted. Like conduct a thorough background investigation, physical fitness requirements. It's significant.
I have no doubt that will be a fruitful investment from the department for the town. I mean, Greg has a formidable academic record. He will take full advantage of this.
Yes, he will.
Be very successful, I have no doubt.
Yeah, I'm very proud of him. I'm excited for him. He's very excited. He's at the perfect time in his career to truly appreciate it. The National Academy is you get what you put into it. And we went over all of the classwork, the coursework that he was applying for. He got all the courses that he wanted. We specifically focused on the things in which that will enhance our operations at the same time educating and expanding his mind. So I see this as a tremendous win. And we had the conversation just recently where we talked about all of his, every time that he's involved in his projects or his assignments within these classes, because they're so specific to certain things that I feel, and he feels that we as an organization will also benefit from as he benefits from. I've asked that he looks at it from a position of when he does reporting or any kind of project or end of course work, that he looks at it from the perspective of tailor making opportunities for our organization to focus on excellence. What could we do different through this educational process? Bring us back opportunities for growth, development, and service. Bring us the latest. And this is the place in which that it's almost, for a law enforcement place, it's an incubator. And that's what I'm excited about, not only for his personal growth, but what he may bring back with him so that we all may develop as an organization too.
Is it a very competitive process?
Very competitive. There's 200 and some odd candidates from the United States and I think 25 separate countries. Very competitive. Our recent promotions of both Sergeants Badger and Spinelli have been very successful. And both members attended the FBI Law Enforcement Development Association's leadership training in end of July in Rochester. So it was just a great opportunity to give them some front end training for a week on leadership pieces, and then they'll have to go to supervisor school down the road, which is a 4-week process in New York. In New York State, I should say, but we'll look at those opportunities as they come to fit in with our needs also. We're currently in budget discussion, and we're not only doing our 26 preparation, but also our 25 review. As we do that, we are getting set to have the conversation for our initial conversation to the town board September 10th. Our budget remains fairly flat. We have personnel costs that are built in by our contract. And then all of our other costs, we're not asking for anything out of the norm. They're fairly flat. What we are also looking to do when we examine the last 3 years, we are continuing with the final of our 3rd year request for personnel. And that will cap off what our study recommended in 2023 of 2 additional and also vehicles. But outside of that, the budget's pretty flat. And one of the things that I wanted to bring up to you, to the committee, was we were very excited about our 4th of July. We look forward to that. We pull all of our personnel for that, but Memorial Day the same, and other things that the villages do that have impact. And what I'd like to ask is, as you look to your year and you see where you may be having different kinds of community related opportunities where you feel law enforcement should be involved, and in this climate, I would say having that conversation with us is an important one. Just because of the world we live in, just remember that those things that those decisions or those things that you would like to do, they carry a price tag for me, budget time. So it's always good to get that input from you if things change. So if we're gonna do something a little bit different someplace where you're looking at it, it's always great to be brought in on the front end. Because I have a budget process that I have to go through with my bosses. And it's good to know, you know, if that's gonna change. We've been doing certain things the same way for a long time. We can measure out some of those things, but if we get any other like village sponsored, town sponsored events that are above and different than what we normally do, it's great to get brought in that conversation. We always want to support. I just like to know what the dollar impact is for me so that I can put that into numbers in the budget. So. Our cadet post,
Just how,
the villages are very busy. Yeah, we enjoy it. Yeah, we enjoy it. I know everybody's got something coming up, so you know, it's gonna be a busy September, October. So we're looking forward to that. Our cadet post sponsored a police cadet academy on August 2nd. I was happy to welcome the other cadets from around the state to our police department. Thank you to the village because we used the auditorium and the gym and the facilities. It was great time. Thank you. I had a great time because I said, you know, welcome, congratulations. I am a former cadet. You can do anything you want to do. And then they were led outside for a 1.5 mile run. And I ate breakfast. So it was great to see the kids. It was great to see people so excited to participate and be a part of our profession and looking towards the future. So
it's a big group.
it was a big group. Did you see him? Did you see him out there?
Well, I saw your wonderful Facebook posts.
Yeah.
And stay up to speed.
You know, we had him running around the Swan Pond, by the way, Tom. Yeah, that was great. We really enjoyed it. So it was a great success this year. We previous years was more of a, you know, of a competition. We did have a competition this year, but they got educated also. And this was more, gave them more of an academy feel. So what can we do to make possible recruits a little bit more successful? What can we share with them so that when they show up, they're a viable candidate in the future? So that was really a theme of this. And Sergeant Spinelli was really the driving force and is the driving force beyond that. And I can't thank him enough for doing this. He did a phenomenal job. So it's great to see.
And both of the officers, Spinelli and Badger, have been.
Yes, they have.
So it shows that, you know, this work really makes a difference.
It is the single greatest recruitment tool that our organization has ever had. If you look at the members of our organization over time, you will see many former explorers. They were police explorers back then. They're now cadets. But throughout our 40 years in service. So it has been a phenomenal opportunity to lock them, get them close to us. And what we love to do is to create that community with them, to bring them close, to see us for who we are, and to allow them to contribute towards that culture so that no matter what they do, if they choose to go in the military, we just had one leave for the military. We're so excited. Just send him a card. He's in basic training. We figured he needed a card. Right down to our kids that go to college, we want them to come back to us. And we want to support them in their process. And I just mentioned Brian Damon, who just moved after retirement. He used to ride in the car with me as an explorer. Yeah. I used to make him direct traffic in the rain so I could stay dry. I would be out there. But that's the value. We locked these kids in. He went to college, he came back to us, you know, so that's what we want. And that's what we continue to get. And we have a wonderful group of kids right now. And it's one of the largest posts ever. It's like at 21. 21. That gives me hope for the future. I'm very proud of our members through a very busy summer. We have had a number of initiatives in play throughout our summer that have come from basically our responsiveness to community concerns and requests. And I think that is what continues to set us apart. And that's part of that messaging that I share about my expectations for the members of our organization is that we focus on not only traditional law enforcement issues, but truly quality of life things. And as a law enforcement organization, we need to be focused on saying yes, not no. We should be focused always on what can we do to alleviate issues, even if they're outside of our purview. We should bring people to the folks that can assist them. So I want to just go over a couple things we've been doing. So one of the first things that was brought up was traffic, right? So you brought up traffic. So I'll bring up some stuff. We just completed our school zone handouts. So we go to all the school zones over a period of a day at different times for 2 hours. And we hand out literature that lets people know school zones are opening, the rules around school zones, all of the laws, and a complete schematic of the penalties involved if you are given a ticket for going through a school zone. So we're trying to bring some education, but what we're truly after through the conversation and the connection with the community is willing compliance. We also let people know as we're handing these out, just to let you know, we're going to be in here enforcing this in the next couple of weeks. We want to give everybody a very clear understanding that we're going to be back in there in the next couple of weeks. And actually, I'll get to that too. Recently, we did stuff a cruiser. I don't know if you saw that. We placed marked cars out in front of CVS Manlius, Target in Fayetteville, and Kitty Drugs on 290. And we encourage shoppers to purchase school supplies, and then they bring them out and they put them in the police car. And then we donate them to ESM, FM, and IC. This came out of some initiatives where we saw a need in our community that was being shouldered or not being shouldered or attempting to be shouldered internally by some of our partners in the school district. And we saw an opportunity to kind of get out there and provide so that every child at school has what they need to get started on the right foot. So we just recently did that. It was very popular and very successful. Again,
So was that through the special patrol officers who see needs that you might have been?
well, we have, yes, we get intel, of course, from our CSIROs and our SPOs, but also just the community. Remember, we're a career of conflict. We're in people's homes on their worst days, and we see things inside of those homes and see folks struggle with our own eyes every day. That's what we do every day. And when we identify these things, it may lead us to create opportunities to maybe get involved. So we'll ask the questions, we'll get more information, and then we'll think of ways in which that we can support the community in other ways. So is it a traditional law enforcement issue? No. But is it what makes us and separates us? Absolutely. Is it what our community expects of us? I do believe that, and I'm certain that it's what you expect of me. So we participate in the support of Special Olympics. Special Olympics and law enforcement have had a very tight relationship for a lot of years. I think you saw where we would do things with Dunkin' Donuts. They're no longer participating. However, we're very happy that, local organizations like Tully's Restaurant and Town Center, local businesses like Spill the Tea, they're doing things with us. So Spill the Tea and Tully's, great partners when it comes to backing Special Olympics, and we've been working with them through our community relations touch.
I think Red Robin did as well, didn't they? Ran into it.
It might have been a Red Robin too, so forgive me if I didn't mention that one also. So it's great to see, town businesses opening up and being part of it. Our CSO that we just talked about, she's preparing to deliver additional informational meetings focused on senior residents and the latest scams and how to best protect themselves. We're gonna do the senior centers in Fayetteville, Manlius. We did the senior centers at the Golden Age Club in Manoa this summer. Now it's kind of the next phase where we go to the other ones. We participated in National Night Out. And that's truly a focus in support of safer communities. When we talk about this, that quality of life, this is what I'm talking about. How do we as an organization make sure that, you know, our public understands that when you have quality of life issues, it's okay to get us involved. We don't have to sit there and say, I don't want to involve the police with this. We're not an all or nothing organization. We're there to try to keep things from happening. Quality of life issues sometimes lead to bigger issues. So let us get involved in that National Night Out as a part of really, truly of so many things to support the community, to reduce crime in communities, and to make communities a happier and safer place. We've conducted numerous tours recently: preschool, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, various summer school programs. We participated in all sorts of different programming when it comes to tours and connection with our kids this summer. We've had a great time doing it. It's fun to be in a police department and hear kids laughing, right? Because it's not always a place where you get to be exposed to that. So we had fun with that. We're also looking forward to participating in Wicked Woods Trunk or Treat. It's all coming up in October. You can look to our social media announcements, and I always say we love when our community here and beyond connects with us on our social media platforms. We put out a lot of information on social media, and I think you see there's kind of a balance. You know, hey, we got a lost dog. Hey, we found lost. You know, we reunited the owner. Hey, this road is closed. Hey, we're over here doing this. We're over here doing that. It doesn't capture everything, but I think it gives the community a pretty good feel on the balance that we try to strike in placing that information in their hands, and the transparency that we have. This is us. This is your police department. We're here for you. So and that's coming from an analog guy in a digital world. So take it for what it is. Our enforcement of the school zones is next week, the 9th, 10th, and 11th. We're going to be in force in the school zones, hoping that we get willful compliance from every single driver. I don't know what more I can do to let everybody know. I will tell you that even because of all of these things, we put on social media, we'll do all these things, we'll still write a bucket load of tickets. So what we want is that willful compliance. So we're really hoping to see a drop in our tickets. And when people hear me say that, they go, what do you mean? You know, you're the police department. I would love for a world where I don't write tickets, because, you know, we write vehicle and traffic citations to lower crashes. Right. So it's a direct relationship, and I'll talk to you about that in a few minutes also. Recently, we completed a crosswalk campaign. So members go out in plain clothes, utilize the crosswalk. We issued a bunch of tickets. So trying to remind folks of crosswalk enforcement. So it was very successful. This is what I wanted to tell you. We have built a collision reduction enforcement program where we utilize collision data to drive our enforcement efforts. So not only in the places and the times, but also the reason for the collisions. So where are they happening? When are they happening? Why are they happening? How can we become surgical, utilizing data through a quantitative and qualitative process to be able to find trends and patterns that allow me to be more surgical with the use of our resources. So we're able to do it well and be efficient at the same time. So we look at that data and that analysis to see where we're going to place and what we're going to focus on, with the sole intention of driving down rates. And we see that success every time when we apply that pressure. So gaining that, educating the public, and trying to gain that willful cooperation is so important. This year, we're very excited to have updated our traffic trailer and messaging boards. Thank you. We purchased 2 new trailers on grants that can provide all the traffic statistics. They're standalone, they're solar backup powered. You'll see them. They're also in the messaging boards. We also received 1 new messaging board to update an older trailer and then a smaller speed display sign that can be mounted in an area that we're looking that has maybe more of a historic type of complaints or problems that we can put up. We also purchased what's called a stat track data recorder that we use to analyze speed. So we're able to like, let's mount that on somebody so we can bolt that right to their mailbox in front of their house. And we can get speeds and numbers and all sorts of things. And why is that important? We have two of them now, and it's very important to me because when you view a vehicle and I view a vehicle, we can make our prediction on what speeds are. Right? Sometimes when we see things and the object of those things, the size of those objects interferes with our ability to make an accurate understanding of the speed. It's easy to know when it's a 25 and somebody's going 50, but it's not easy to know when they're 30 or 34 or 35 or 36. So when folks are concerned about a pattern of violations that they see, we want to address it. And the best way for us to address it is to immediately place a stat track in there so that we can grab the data. Then we can determine when. First of all, is this a perception issue or is it factual? Are we seeing a standard amount or a percentage that's, significantly higher than what we normally see of violations? When's it happening? And we'll put a card on it. And that's how we get surgical about what we're doing. We could apply a card there every day between 9 and 10, but if the problem's at 7 at night, we're missing the whole boat. We're just making people feel better, not doing anything to solve the problem. So how do we solve those issues and how do we become surgical? With the additional flexibility on the overlap on the 10-hour schedule, we've also been focusing on a number of initiatives this summer. So we've been putting out neighborhood patrols specific to quality of life crimes, stolen vehicles, things of that nature. Bike patrol, been utilizing our bike patrol. Right now, we have our retail crime task force in session. Again, not with the use of overtime. We are doing this through normal operations. We can, and in fact, I just heard them before when I came over here. They had 2 people in custody today just for theft. And they were going back to headquarters. So we have been in various areas. We're doing some crime reduction through traffic enforcement operations based on crime data. So when we start seeing trends and patterns that link significantly violent crime to certain areas or areas that are drive-through, we're starting to focus our traffic enforcement operations there. We were doing this a couple weeks ago, and even though we didn't get a gun, we had 3 people with no pistol permit with a pistol magazine fully loaded in the car. We think they dumped it at some point, but we're each time we're looking and we're finding. So they also cause us concerns because this year it's been significant for us. We had 2 separate shootings, one of which was a homicide. Actually, yeah, in 24 we had 1 shooting. So it's an uptick for us, our community. So we have to make sure that we are looking at all of those things. The hybrid street fire, I just wanted to talk about, it was a great collaborative effort. What I was excited about being able to not only do our traditional support of our fire service and traffic and people and investigative support was that they utilized our TMPD drones to be able to figure out the hotspots and where the fires were. So we were able to put our drones up very quick. And then we had our investigative supervisor, a sergeant who's a drone operator, has a vehicle where he can open up the back and have, the actual LED board, and he can watch it. And he got that parked right over to where fire command was. He put the drone up, and then they were able to utilize that. So I think it just goes to show you that much of what we try to do transcends what we feel are different responsibilities. They're all interconnected of each other. And I was there and I watched it and I was a part of it, and it was just it was great to be able to offer something a little bit more to them at the time. And I have just been very pleased with our members and their performance this summer. I don't think I go a week without someone coming in and filling out I appreciate what this officer did, or I get a letter, or I get a phone call. I mean, I got a phone call from a gentleman the other day who was at fault in a serious accident and called us and said, I was at fault for this serious accident, but I'm telling you, the way that your members carried out their job was absolutely astoundingly professional. It's things like that, that continue to give me the energy to come back. Okay, and I'm so appreciative of how focused they are. But truly, it's your support. I know I tell you this, but I have to message every time because I don't think you truly can process how you can add and how you add and what you do for our members, because they need to feel it and understand it through your support, and they truly do. They know they're appreciated. They know their work is appreciated, but how they do it is most important to me, because how they do it and how they execute reflects upon me, reflects upon all of us here and the town, and I know of the high expectations. So I'm just pleased to see what they're doing and how they're developing. Remember, it's a young department with young supervisors and an old chief. That's all I got. So I'm all ears for you.
Excellent. Thank you, Chief, so much.
That's all you have.
It's a pleasure.
I
Sorry.
appreciate it.
So next on our agenda, let's have a brief discussion, not necessarily a lengthy discussion, but I wanted this on our agenda as a committee on facility needs. And my intention here is to have this as part of our ongoing agenda for all of 2026, because this is a mild refresher. It's been several years of CALIA evaluation reports referencing having outgrown the physical site, and year after year, we all agree something needs to be done. So what my request to this committee is rather than putting the cart before the horse and saying, we know what we need and let's just go get it. I would really request that, well, first of all, I would like to treat this as a standing agenda item. We'll do strategic planning to address whatever deficiencies there are today and plan for tomorrow's needs. Because these are things that take a long time. If we're talking about a municipal facility, that's a huge undertaking. If we're talking about repairs and upgrades, that's an expensive undertaking. So my request to this group is to take to your boards and your mayors and your constituencies to the extent practicable, and really tease out what, from your perspective in your villages, is the best approach to take to meet the needs for the department. I know there's been discussion in public previously about a new facility versus renovations. I would rather have actual input from villages and the boards, what they think is the best approach and what they need. Because geographically, you're in different parts of the town, that may inform your input differently. So if you wouldn't mind, I would like to come back to this with enough time for folks to meet with their boards, do a little discussion on your own, and come back for our next meeting, which is October 22nd, with maybe top 3, I don't want to say concerns, but dreams, wishes, like top 3, what you think the best approaches would be to really right size the department's facility, whether it's through an existing site, whether it's through exploring an alternative site. But let's get this discussion in this group here, where the villages have actual representation, provide meaningful input from your point of view. I think is October 22nd is the next meeting of this committee, this board committee. Is that enough time? Does everybody have time to meet with their boards between now and then? If you have some discussion.
It's easy in Manlius.
That's true.
Put a little tiny addition on the back of the building, make chief and the members happy and Manlius stays happy. So, there you go.
That's what I'm looking for, Tom.
I didn't mean to make light of it. Clearly, it's something that has to be discussed thoroughly, and yes, I will talk. We are so pleased with our guests. Thank you.
Huh, never heard it stated quite so pointedly that that's, the position of the village.
That's one person. I don't speak for the entire.
Okay.
That's me. That's why I would talk to my board about it.
Right, I'm trying to imagine our meetings and how I can fill this request. We did request, and I believe all our board members did a tour. And I want to do this, but I'm also thinking that they're gonna say, well, what are we starting from? You want me to ask an open-ended question about the facilities specific, I will do that task. But I also know that, if we wanna get real about it, it feels like we need some sort of documentation, because I don't know what our choices are. So when you say add a little something onto the back there, I don't know what that choice is, and maybe I haven't studied documents enough that are available, but to me, I would need a lot of information on that, because I look at the back and I was like, well, maybe my imagination is big enough to understand how that mountain gets moved and how that slope doesn't matter. And it seems really bound on one side, so I need to understand that a little bit more. And I don't know, I'll try it, but I would like a planful approach. I looked at the comprehensive plan, we decided to do this in the comprehensive plan, and I'm a little unsure of where the town is. I signed up to be a part of a process that's not clear to me yet. And that was over a month ago. So I'll you have turned on.
Well, I'll bring it back to our board, but I don't think it's really what we should be listening to the constituents about. I think we need to listen to the police department and the officers, the office staff, the chief, the mechanic, what they need, and go from there and see what the options are after that, whether it's simply putting a little addition on or building a whole new police department. So I think that's the first step, is finding out what the staff needs.
I struggled with whether I was gonna comment on this at all, but I wanna comment on it because I think one of the best people to inform us on what they need comes from the chief and the staff, right? They carry out goals and mission of the department, they serve our public. And what they need to do that, they're so good at relaying to us their needs, and then we are so good at trying to provide that to them. Having been involved with two of the villages, having built buildings. One, a complete municipal center with a fire department, and one a fire department. I can tell you that the towns had very little input, and it's not a, we didn't have the input, so why should the villages have the input? However, I feel it's just a sole counselor's feeling that, with the exception of Manlius, where if the option was to do some sort of update to that building, the villages don't utilize the building other than if you were a user of the services of the police as any other resident would. So how the physical government boards would inform what the department needs, I don't know where that, I don't feel like that has a place above and beyond what each individual member of those governments as residents could offer their own opinion for, related to the building, whether it's a new building or it's a renovation of the current space. So I'm just confused at what we would be asking the villages to provide. Here under number 7, you know.
Sure, so in my view, I think, any kind of preference or, desire for what the department that serves the villages and the town, should look like. An aspirational plan, you know, instead of, leaving it up to the town and the department to, make the decision on where, how to address the, needs of a department that is outgrown its current facility. That's not, those aren't my words, that's the summation on CALIA accreditation reports year after year, for some point in time now. So again, that identifies the problem, but it doesn't identify the solution. So a new building might be the solution, an expanded current building might be the solution. I would really like to have some input from the villages on their preferences.
So let me just throw an idea out there. Would it be better to ask that question of the villages while presenting them with the 2 options to look at that say, here's the needs. And I think as the board, we're asking each department, including the police department, to say, here's your dream space, right? Everything you could want. And then, you know, you could whittle that down to what we can afford, what's appropriate, right? Get something that works for us, that allows for growth as well. Have that as an option. Then also have whatever other identified options are there, and then ask them to comment on that with their, because I feel like we might be leading towards an area where we have several different groups of people trying to determine what a new building will look like and if it's appropriate, and what addition to this building and the other building will look like and if it's appropriate, where I think we need to have one process that then pulls all of these actors in together to then comment on and then help for us to steer towards the final plan for what we do.
I guess I'm of another mind on that. I would like it to be less broad and really specific to, police services. And if it does fall under the umbrella of a village or the elected person weighing in on this, that they want to look at it from a holistic, all municipal services under one roof viewpoint, that's an opinion. But I guess what I would hope to gain insight from the villages particularly, how they would like to see, policing delivered and out of a upgraded or a new site. What would those requirements, what would be an appealing solution to the current state of affairs for policing specifically?
Well, that sounds differently than. I have a different opinion on it. I'm completely behind you on how does what they want to see as policing, how does that inform where we go with what space is provided by the police? Just I guess I took it a little differently before, that we're asking 3 villages to design building.
No.
Based on their needs and their wants, and then, yeah, and it just felt like it was like going back to the
Yeah,
drawing board.
thank you for teasing that out. I
Yeah.
apologize for lack of clarity there.
And
Yeah.
just because we were gonna get a lot of questions on it, and that's,
Yeah.
I wanna be able to explain what we discussed.
Yeah, exactly. Please stop me and let's make sure that we're clear on what I'm requesting from you. As village representatives, you know, just. Because obviously there's already public debate out there about broader municipal facilities. And I really would like this committee, because it's the police committee, to focus specifically on what are the needs from the community's point of view, and communities in this respect, meaning the villages. What do they think is most important to address in a discussion or an upgrade or a debate about how to meet the needs of the police department within their communities? And then we as an advisory body can put together some recommendations. And probably weigh in on that. And then, you know, the bigger question comes down to, okay, how do we want to do it? How are we gonna pay for it? How's it cost and cost be? Have a little bit more input from partners in the villages.
So what if, let me just ask this. All three representatives have said on behalf of their villages that they're very happy with the level of service and programs that our department provides. So would it save time to go to the chief and say, look, everyone wants you to continue what you are doing. What blueprint allows us to get there? That's submit back to the villages for. Maybe not a blueprint of like, I'm not rooms and things, but you know, the general description of. You know, in order to continue these programs, we must have, you know, whatever that would be. Or, you know, we could continue that. Very cramped space we have, but would make it a lot more efficient and productive would be these things, and then. The body could deliver comment on that. I'm just trying to think how it makes it easier to the villages. To accomplish what you want without. Them having to go back, have a discussion and then figure out how to deliver that feedback.
Sure, well, I was hopeful that, you know, I think the members of this body, the members of this committee are already well informed and are capable of taking the known issues back to the villages without additional documentation, without additional reportage, because, you know, we've been talking about this for years now, you know, the physical constraints of the department. And I know it has been, you know, kicked around down this very binary black and white choice, either keep what you got or buy something new. And I don't want, this committee doesn't need to fall into that trap. That's not what I'm asking folks to consider when they're back with their village boards. It's really just to, I mean, maybe I have it wrong, but I think everybody here is well aware of the well documented and repeatedly discussed restrictions of having kind of grown beyond the original capacity of the site that they're in right now. And again, you know, maybe excavating and putting an addition on this building might be an option. That might be a recommendation from folks, but there are also other ideas floating around, such as a broader municipal building for multiple services out of one site. But rather than being a town councilor and saying, here's what we thought about, so here's what we're gonna do, I would very much like to have some input from the villages on what they think a good idea might be, what a good approach might be to address this. You know, the really constricted environment that our department is operating out of right now.
I would just also add that we don't have only two options. We also have a rental option of existing space that someone suggested to me. You know, so. Considering that we meet 6 times a year and that our villages don't necessarily have a lot of input on things because we're simply advisory. I am the belief that I need some more direction from the town in terms of what the process is. And I heard, you know, that we had multiple members of our board here for the July 23rd meeting. And I think I made some great jokes that night about consolidation. But I don't know what the process is. I have, like I said, I heard one counselor say this, and I heard another counselor say that, and got an email from a third, and think we can be a part of a process that's at least got some body to it. It's not clear to me that what the town is planning to spend on these next steps, what the timeline is, who's choosing the people involved, whether it's going to be transparent, whether it's gonna be live streamed. You know, I just have so many questions. I came away from this process with so many more questions. And I have a very strong personal belief that we have to do something, and that kicking this can down the road, that should have been decided as, of course, we're not gonna do that anymore. But I'm hearing timelines that vary when the needs just become more pressing and the service delivery just gets better all the time. So this mismatch, there's two members of town here because when it came, the history of this present body is that, the clarification that the town's role is primary. And we are a part of the town, but the three villages are a tiny part of the town. We're approximately 12,000 people out of the 33,000 people that you represent as village boards. I can't promise that all of the board members have read these studies. It's hard to keep up with all of this stuff. I thought we were going to have clear choices laid out in terms of the various costs. So if I want to speak, we need to speak to, I'll say 3 options. We need to be able to speak to something that's defined, that's on paper, that's not just open, so open-ended, William. I understand that as a starting place, but we spent 3 years developing this comprehensive plan, and now I hear we want another comprehensive plan to decide that we already did this. Something that we already decided. So I'm perplexed, knowing the culture of my board and what we discuss and what's on our plate, what we can take on. And whether, if I ask them, you ask for the top 3 wishes and dreams, the best approach to right size the department's facility. I wonder about the value of that when we only meet once every other week. And members of our board have fully developed opinions on things or very strong opinions on things that would be hard to get us to have any kind of a clear statement as a board. Because we don't have the definition of anything that you're asking us to speak about. If I had the dreams, they should have definitely much better facilities than they have now. And it is a privilege to have been a member of this body and to be able to see that in a way that I've never saw it as a citizen. So I do see that we can have a role, but I feel like it needs more definition than what you're asking. I'll go back and ask, but I don't know that we're then contributing in any meaningful way to the facility discussion. And I would like this body to contribute in a meaningful way. But we need direction and substance from the town to help create these parameters that we would respond to. And a defined process, as a citizen, I want a defined process. And opportunities to participate. So, I'm quite perplexed about where we are.
I wanna just address a couple. So first, let me speak the comprehensive plan. Well, you say that the town may need new facilities, but it doesn't give you it is not a comprehensive plan that anyone said, at least not myself, because I've used the word strategic plan. Which you certainly need a strategic plan to combine 2 town facilities into one, and then to build that. So that's something that personally I feel we did well when we got to the point of trying to put a new building on the ballot, and that we should have had out there for the villages, for the representatives, for the public to be able to view and see if we're asking for this, how then will we spend that money? Where will that go? What's the plan in carrying that out? That's not in the comprehensive plan. So the board has started a process to identify and create a strategic plan to evaluate our options, come up with how this is carried out. And I don't know if any one from any of the villages was able to view or attend our last town board meeting, but I felt that we had a very well organized and communicated update on where we are. So we're figuring that out. Those parts are moving to be able to come back and say, here's a strategic plan. It includes a committee of people who will be made up of village, town, board members, public employees, what have you. And then those people will take the draft, the drawing, whatever it was that we got, and they will go, look at that. They look at that option, they will look at the VIP study of this building with some other information. That'll start to inform decisions, and decisions will be made. That whole process, I believe, my opinion, I believe everyone, and William, if the same thing, let me know. I'm not trying to speak for all the rest of the board, but I think we're all 100% that it's gonna be completely a public process and open to people. How that's carried out will be defined in writing, so everyone knows. But at least my intent, I think several other councilors have expressed the same, that it would be like a work session where the appointed committee will work, then people can observe. Because what we can't have is like what happened in several meetings where people just stand up and they blurt out because that committee will never be able to get the work done. And then our employees will never be able to move into a better space. And our residents will not be able to come to an appropriate facility where they can carry out their business that they had to carry out.
Yeah, I agree with all that. So also too, I want to make it very clear that, with respect to this committee's work, we're really focused on policing and police services. And so village board members may have very strong opinions about the town purchasing a new municipal facility, the procedure to how to get there and how to go about that spending. But what I want input from, or what I would like to have input from, is specific to policing services. If the board members, village board members don't have an opinion on that, that's an acceptable answer. But what I'm hopeful about is that they do have a specific opinion on how policing needs would be best served in the villages, in their communities, and not so much on whether or not the town should have a new facility or not. That's, as you rightly stated, that's not something that the villages have a lot of say. But this committee certainly could do a bit to collect and collate input from village representatives on what the preferences might be to better serve the communities, or to maximally serve the communities before the town makes a decision and makes its follows through on a procedure to upgrade facilities.
I just tell you, I appreciate your clarification, because to me, put what you're asking in a different focus for me, that, it's not, think about just brick and mortar.
No,
It's
exactly.
about how to, continue these services as the residents want to see, and the people closest to gathering that information. Villages are the village boards.
I'm interested in information gathering here from the perspectives that may not have been capped previously. It's not a fork in the road. We're either going to go here or we're going to go there. It's I really would like input. I think this conversation was greatly illustrated why I think it'll be on our agenda for most of 2026. We are willing to continue to have this conversation.
Are you recommending moving to number 8? That how you're recommending that?
No, not quite. I just wanted to mention too, for this committee, as she previously referenced, the department budget is being from initially presented to the town board on September 10th. That is a virtual meeting, it's live, so any members of this body who are interested in getting a glimpse of the early budget, by all means, please do. It'll be 5 o'clock.
I think we're slated for 5:30,
But I'm
but we're
before
probably
him.
gonna be
I'll
about
ready at
5:15, probably a little bit earlier.
5.
You're gonna 5?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be quick. I'm
Can
gonna
you
be
stall
quick.
for time?
What's that?
Can you stall for time?
Nope. 5 o'clock, be here, be
All
there.
right.
Okay, 5 o'clock it is.
So that's a good opportunity for members of this body to kind of get a taste of what the initial budget development is looking like. And then the same date of our next committee meeting on October 22nd is followed at 6:30 by budget presentation for the town board. So if you wanted to stick around, the final budget would be presented then. And then November 5th will be the public hearing on the preliminary budget for the town, which will include the department. And again, as members of this committee and as constituents and as caring people, by all means, I would invite public comment on the preliminary budget. And profuse apologies for tying everybody in knots for a minute there on wanting to get some input on the police facility discussion, but I think we owe it to the department, we owe it to. Let uncomfortable conversations justify kicking him down the road further.
Just to clarify, I'm not tied in knots. I want clarification, and I wanna be able to do the task that you requested, so I'm good for now. I
Okay,
don't
I
see
think
anybody having any other things to say,
There's,
and I'll review this tape.
sure, there's
So,
also
again-
previous meetings, I can't remember which months exactly though, but I mean, this body has reviewed a building assessment. The department, not this building, not municipal building, but the police department, but the building assessment is going on, we passed around previously. That would be a good reference point to take to your village boards, just to kind of look at what were identified as the pinch points, you know, where. This
It would be helpful, so not the 1999, the 2018, or is there a specific other document that we should be looking at? Because if that's true, and you could send it to us, Gary, that would be helpful. It would be helpful for me, and then it may be helpful for other members of our board.
I'll have to take a look. I'm not sure, but I will send the most recent
on
one.
this committee.
It may take me a day or two, but I will send you guys the most recent one.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, if that's it with nothing else, I certainly take a motion to adjourn.
Hold on, you got other business.
There's a meeting discussion.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I have two different agendas and they're numbered differently. Okay, so number eight, other business. Discussion regarding meeting times. Oh, this is trustee Cleary. Yeah,
I requested that we move the meeting back a half hour to 4:30 because I have a standing meeting with our tree commission. And historically has always met at that time, and I have a constraint on the other end, so in terms of what time they should go. So if 4:30 is a possibility, which I recognize that it may not be, I said I would ask if someone asked me. And it's not.
I'll ask my fellow counselor, town board to consider that. That may give us a little extra time to get a little something to eat prior to if we continue to meet on board meeting nights, 4:30.
as appealing as that is, I live in a world where the rules of physics will not allow me to get here
Oh, you have.
any earlier than this. But I'm just one person.
You are our chair, and physics is real, so I will accept that answer.
It would be the same for me. Yeah, more still would be a challenge, tremendous challenge to get here.
4:35 wasn't, yeah, it's all matter for me.
I mean, I could start the meeting with Teams, but if you want to start the meeting with from Zoom.
All right, unfortunately, I would say, I would vote no to change it.
I said, I accept that answer, so as far as I'm concerned, yeah.
Great, well, with that, then properly, the next thing would be the motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, wait, hold on.
I was
We just wanted to add two things under the new business for the sheet.
Excellent, see, great.
For consideration, next time I'll send them in to the solicitor, but, Chief, do we have an active neighborhood watch program, and if so, is somebody specific administrator? I've gotten like a lot of questions lately. So I would bring it up in our committee and let them know who to contact.
So we have had community interest in starting neighborhood watch or similar style of community involvement at different times in our history. Normally that occurs when something is or has or is played in a certain area, normally because there is a house that's centered in contributing towards some localized problems. Once those things get remedied, people lose interest, everybody's moved on again. Because of the nature of the way that, crime in our communities were here. So we are very willing to start having a conversation with a neighborhood or representative people in a neighborhood. If they're having continued repetitive problems, if they're concerned. I think it starts with that and we would connect the dots with that. I'm happy to work offline with you on this and if there are folks we want to get in touch with and then I can move them, once I hear what really the issues are and stuff, I can connect them and connect our people and we can start addressing their issues. Yeah, if we have neighborhoods, they're usually like a neighborhood that's having a consistent problem, we can also have the discussion on what we know of, like what are we at, what's actually getting reported, what's actually occurring on the ground floor. Sometimes it's very different. Like we're not getting involved in as much as we so we don't think there's a problem, but there really is. So it's always great to have these conversations.
That's it. The other thing I'll just ask it is.
I just want to apologize for making light of a very complex and difficult situation with the spacing issue with our police department. I didn't mean to make it a joke or anything like that. We're gonna solve this problem.
I didn't take anything back.
We're gonna solve it together, starting with what the needs are. So in case it rubbed any of my committee members, fellow committee members the wrong way, I just want to say, I apologize.
Didn't rub me the wrong way. It just was a surprise. I never, I never heard it stated. Right that way.
Poor choice of words.
I'll second the standing motion.
Thank you.
I'm glad to.
I got about 7 or 8 million.
All right,
Are you teeing off?
No, I'm not team off. I gotta